So why are there three suns in this video? Could it
Are sharing sightings of Jesus, appearing in clouds, on walls, even stretched across the sky, looking completely out of place, almost artificial.
Across the United States, something has shifted, and people can feel it. Water is rising without rain. The ground is trembling without warning. The sky itself is changing in ways that leave witnesses frozen in silence. From California to Hawaii, from the deserts to the coasts, events are unfolding that many are calling the biggest tragedy America has faced in years. But is this just extreme nature, or is it something more? Tonight, we examine the signs, the science, and the scriptures that may explain what is happening. If this topic matters to you, like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe, and explore this unfolding mystery with us. It happened at night. No rain, no storm warnings, no controlled release from the dam. Yet within hours, more than 7 billion gallons of water surged upward from beneath Lake Oroville. Sensors recorded the rise. Cameras confirmed it. A 2 to 3 foot wall of water formed in the darkness, pushing outward across the surface without wind to drive it, and without rainfall to explain it. Engineers checked upstream flow, nothing unusual. They checked release gates, all closed. They checked precipitation records, clear skies. What they found instead was more unsettling. Water samples revealed chemical signatures consistent with deep groundwater, not surface runoff, not snowmelt. This was water forced upward from beneath fractured rock layers below the reservoir. At the same time, seismic instruments detected subtle tremors directly under the lake bed, not a destructive earthquake, but measurable movement synchronized with the surge. The dam was designed to manage pressure from above. It was never built for pressure from below. For many residents, the memory of 2017 returned immediately, the year the spillway nearly failed, forcing nearly 188,000 people to evacuate in a matter of hours. That crisis was visible. This one was not. The structure still stood. The concrete was intact, but something beneath it had shifted. And that is what disturbed people most, because visible threats can be monitored. Hidden pressure cannot. Officials discussed possible geological explanations: underground aquifer displacement, pressure redistribution, tectonic adjustments. All plausible, all technical. Yet none removed the central reality. The foundation beneath one of California's most critical reservoirs had moved. When the deep places stir, confidence weakens. Psalm 62:6 declares, "He alone is my rock and my salvation. I will not be shaken." That verse speaks of stability beyond concrete, beyond engineering. Because concrete can crack, rock layers can fracture, pressure can build silently for years before release. Lake Oroville did not collapse, but it revealed something. Human systems are constructed on foundations we do not fully control. Water rose from a place no one could see. Tremors moved where no one stood. The event lasted hours, yet the question it left behind remains. If billions of gallons can surge upward in silence, what else is shifting beneath the surface, physically, structurally, spiritually? This was not chaos, it was exposure. And exposure is often the first sign that something deeper is under strain. What rose beneath the lake did not remain there. In the days that followed, monitoring stations across multiple states began recording something quieter, but more persistent. Not one catastrophic earthquake, not a single headline-grabbing rupture. Instead, small tremors, repeating again and again, subtle but measurable. Glasses vibrated on kitchen tables. Doors creaked in the night. Picture frames shifted slightly out of alignment. Individually, each movement seemed harmless. Together, they formed a pattern. Hairline cracks appeared in concrete foundations in neighborhoods long considered stable. Driveways split. Basement walls showed fractures that had not existed weeks earlier. In some areas, the ground subsided enough to form sinkholes, swallowing portions of streets and forcing road closures without warning. Seismologists pointed to normal tectonic adjustments, fault lines relieving pressure in minor increments rather than one violent release. Technically accurate. Yet residents noticed something different. The tremors were not strong enough to destroy instantly, but they were frequent enough to unsettle constantly. It was the repetition that created fear. Animals reacted before some of the tremors were even felt. Dogs barked without visible cause. Livestock shifted restlessly. Birds altered nesting patterns. No single behavior proved anything, but the accumulation amplified unease. Matthew 7:24-27 tells the story of two houses, one built on rock, the other on sand. Both stood until pressure arrived. The difference was not visible at construction. It became visible under stress. That is what these tremors represent. Stress testing the unseen. The real danger was not one massive quake. It was the possibility that foundations could weaken gradually, internally, before any dramatic collapse. History shows that structures rarely fail without warning. They fracture first. Across states, residents began asking quiet questions. If the Earth is releasing pressure in small pulses, what larger force is being balanced? If cracks are appearing now, what might prolonged shaking reveal? This was not panic. It was recognition. The ground beneath homes, schools, and cities, once assumed solid, proved responsive, dynamic, unsettled. And that leads to a deeper question beyond geology. If physical foundations are being tested, what about spiritual ones? The shaking may be small, but foundations are always tested before structures fall. Stay with me, because what appeared next was not beneath our feet, but above our heads. If the ground unsettled confidence below, the sky unsettled certainty above. It began as a glare, bright, cold, almost metallic. People looked up expecting the familiar outline of a single sun. Instead, they saw three. One central orb, blazing as usual, and on either side, two additional luminous forms, aligned in near-perfect symmetry against a pale sky. Traffic slowed. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Phones were raised, hands trembling slightly as images spread across social platforms within minutes. Three suns. Meteorologists quickly identified the phenomenon as a rare atmospheric optical effect known as a parhelion, often called a sundog. Ice crystals suspended high in the atmosphere refract sunlight at specific angles, producing twin halos of light beside the true sun. The science is established, the explanation is documented, but explanation does not erase impact. Witnesses described the light as sharper than usual, almost piercing. It did not feel warm, it felt distant and precise. Children clung to their parents. Adults stood still, staring upward longer than comfort allowed. The sky, normally constant, predictable, appeared altered. And that is what unsettled people most. The heavens have always symbolized order. The sun rises, the sun sets. One source of light governs the day. When that singular image appears multiplied, even briefly, perception shifts. It feels as though the structure of the sky itself has been rearranged. Luke 21:25 records the words of Jesus. There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. The verse does not specify the form those signs will take. It simply establishes that celestial disturbances would draw attention in seasons of unrest. Scientists describe refracted light. Scripture describes symbolic warning. Both can exist in the same moment. Across states, reports emerged of identical sightings: aligned lights, symmetrical brilliance, an atmosphere that felt heavy with silence. The event lasted hours in some regions before fading as the angle of light shifted and ice crystals dispersed. Nothing collapsed. No physical damage occurred. But something intangible changed. When the sky transforms, even temporarily, it compresses human certainty. It reminds observers that even the most stable patterns depend on conditions unseen. Ice crystals miles above the Earth can reshape what billions perceive as fixed reality. The phenomenon passed. The sun returned to singular form. Daily routines resumed. Yet the question lingered. If the heavens can shift appearance so suddenly, what else do we assume is permanent that is merely conditional? The sky did not fall. It simply reminded everyone how small they are beneath it. In Hawaii, the sky did not choose one extreme. It chose both. Relentless rain poured over coastal cities, flooding streets and overwhelming drainage systems that were never designed for sustained saturation. Water moved through neighborhoods in steady sheets, swallowing intersections and forcing residents indoors as emergency alerts echoed across the islands. At the same time, high above the lowland floods, the mountain peaks were buried under heavy snowfall. Rain below, snow above. Two opposing forces operating within the same storm system. Meteorologists described a stalled weather front drawing warm Pacific moisture upward, where it collided with colder air over elevated terrain. The science explained how it happened, but it did not soften the impact of watching highways turn into rivers while mountaintops disappeared beneath white silence. Infrastructure strained under contradiction. Roads iced over in higher elevations, while emergency crews navigated flooded zones near sea level. Power outages spread in pockets. Families waited indoors listening to wind, rain, and distant thunder, while mountain communities faced isolation from snow accumulation. Residents described the storm not as sudden chaos, but as pressure that would not release. Job 37 declares that God commands the rain and directs the snow. Psalm 46 reminds us, though the waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging. These verses speak of authority over elements that appear uncontrollable. Romans 8:22 adds another layer. The whole creation has been groaning. The phrase suggests tension, not destruction, but strain. Hawaii's storm felt like strain, creation divided between extremes. Warm ocean feeding torrential rain while cold air hardened moisture into snow. Opposites coexisting without balance. For many observers, what unsettled them most was timing. Flood and freeze happening simultaneously. No recovery window between impacts, no pause for systems to stabilize. Science described atmospheric instability. Scripture speaks of seasons when nature itself reflects deeper unrest. The event eventually subsided. Floodwaters receded. Snow began to melt. But the memory of contradiction remained. When fire and ice occupy the same horizon, stability feels thinner. If this investigation is helping you see the bigger picture, like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe, and continue watching as we examine what happened next. Because the sky was not finished speaking, the sky was not finished speaking. Across multiple states, massive cloud formations began stretching across the horizon in long, tubular bands, clean, symmetrical, and unusually precise. These were not chaotic storm fronts. They appeared structured, layered like corridors carved into the atmosphere itself. From Oregon to Kansas, from Texas to the Carolinas, witnesses described the same sight. Parallel cloud lines moving in synchronized waves, holding their shape far longer than ordinary formations. and meteorologists identified them as gravity waves, a rare atmospheric phenomenon caused when air is displaced vertically and oscillates between layers of different temperature and density. The science is established, but the timing unsettled people. These formations appeared during a season already marked by instability, rising water, trembling ground, conflicting weather extremes. And beneath some of these skies, another phenomenon emerged: sound. Deep metallic tones echoed across quiet towns and open fields. Witnesses described sustained blasts followed by unnatural silence. The sound did not resemble thunder. It did not match aircraft or construction noise. It carried a hollow, resonant quality that seemed to vibrate through walls and bone. Windows trembled lightly. Animals reacted immediately. Dogs barking, birds scattering. People stepped outside searching for a source that never appeared. Recordings surfaced online from multiple states, capturing similar tones: low, elongated, almost mournful. Scientists suggested atmospheric resonance, distant industrial noise traveling unusually far under specific pressure systems, or mechanical echoes amplified by terrain. Each explanation addressed possibility. None fully addressed uniformity. In Exodus 19, when God descended upon Mount Sinai, Scripture records a trumpet sound that grew louder and louder. In Revelation, trumpets mark moments of warning before consequence. Biblically, trumpets are not background noise. They signal attention. The modern sounds were not accompanied by visible disaster. No buildings fell, no lightning struck. Yet something intangible shifted. Because sound does something sight does not, it interrupts. A strange image can be dismissed as illusion. A strange sound cannot be ignored. It enters the body before the mind processes it. The tube-shaped clouds moved on. The sounds faded. Silence returned. But silence felt heavier than before. Gravity waves explain structure. Acoustic anomalies explain vibration. Yet the convergence of sight and sound during an already unsettled season amplified perception. When the sky organizes itself into corridors and the air carries tones without visible source, the effect is unmistakable. Attention is drawn upward. And in moments like that, people do not simply ask what is happening, they ask why. Then came the images. Across several states, photographs began circulating online. Cloud formations that appeared to resemble a human figure suspended in the sky. Some described a robed outline. Others claimed to see arms extended, light surrounding the shape, or what looked like a face formed by shadow and brightness. From California to Ohio, from rural highways to crowded suburbs, people looked up and saw something that felt intentional. Meteorologists were quick to explain the phenomenon as pareidolia, the human tendency to recognize familiar patterns, especially faces, in random shapes. It is the same instinct that makes us see animals in clouds or faces in rock formations. Scientifically, the explanation is straightforward. Emotionally, it was not. Because these sightings did not happen in isolation. They appeared during a season already marked by rising water, trembling ground, unusual skies, and unexplained sounds. The convergence made the images feel less random and more symbolic to those witnessing them. In Scripture, clouds often accompany divine presence. In Exodus, a pillar of cloud guided the Israelites. In Acts 1:9, Christ ascends and is taken up by a cloud. Throughout biblical history, clouds represent concealment and revelation at the same time. That symbolism amplified reaction. Some gathered in parking lots and open fields, praying beneath the formation. Others wept quietly, uncertain whether they were witnessing coincidence or comfort. Social platforms filled with debates, optical illusion or spiritual sign. No physical event followed the images. No measurable change in atmosphere beyond shifting vapor and sunlight. Yet the psychological impact was real, because perception shapes response. If people believe they are seeing a sign, behavior changes. Attention sharpens. Conversations shift. Fear mixes with hope. Skeptics dismiss the phenomenon as imagination projected onto moisture and light. Believers saw reassurance or warning, and perhaps that is the point. Clouds have no voice. They carry no audible message. They only form and dissolve. But when millions look up at the same sky and interpret meaning, something deeper is occurring. Not in the clouds themselves, but in the human heart. The figures faded as quickly as they formed. Wind reshaped vapor. The sky returned to anonymity. But the question remained, are these patterns random reflections of light or reminders during a season of instability? Because if the heavens are reflecting something greater, what comes next may not remain silent. Stay with me. What followed did not appear in the sky. It ignited on the ground. While skies formed patterns and clouds stirred imagination, the ground answered in flame. In several arid regions, fires erupted under conditions that left investigators searching for clear ignition sources. No lightning strikes were recorded in certain zones at the time of outbreak. No immediate evidence of human activity was confirmed in early reports. Yet flames advanced across dry desert terrain with unusual intensity. Witnesses described the fire as aggressive, moving low and fast, driven not by visible storm winds but by heat stored in land long deprived of moisture. In some areas, isolated bursts appeared to flare suddenly, as though fed from beneath the surface rather than carried from above. Fire crews responded quickly. Containment lines were drawn. Aircraft deployed water drops. Yet, shifting ground temperatures and erratic heat pockets made the suppression unpredictable. Scientists pointed to prolonged drought cycles, underground gas accumulation, extreme surface temperatures, and combustible vegetation as contributing factors. In desert ecosystems, fire can ignite from minimal triggers when dryness reaches critical levels. The science identifies vulnerability. Scripture identifies symbolism. Hebrews 12:29 states, "Our God is a consuming fire." In biblical language, fire often represents purification, exposure, or judgment. Not always destruction, but refinement through intensity. The desert itself carries symbolic weight. It is a place of testing, a place where illusion fades because there is nothing to hide behind. When fire rises in such a landscape, it exposes fragility immediately. Like no skyscrapers collapse in the desert. No urban grid locks down. But flame against open horizon carries a different message. Raw, elemental, uncontested. Fire does not argue, it reveals. What unsettled many observers was not only the blaze itself, but the sequence. Water surged upward, ground trembled, skies shifted, sounds echoed, images formed, and now flame moved across land already strained by heat and drought. Different elements. One season, the fires were eventually contained. Smoke thinned. Ash settled into sand. But a question lingered in the heat left behind. When dryness accumulates silently for years, what spark finally exposes it? Because fire rarely begins with explosion. It begins when conditions are ready.